Time now for an in-depth look at the market news on this Friday, and for that I'm joined on the line by Mr. Daniel Yu, global strategist at Yuanta Securities. Mr. Yu, thank you for making time today.
Good afternoon.
Well, there have been growing expectations that we'll see some new stimulus from the U.S. Congress. Mixed news on the vaccine front, though. So on Wall Street, the Dow and the Nasdaq both up, but the S&P a little lower. What's the story in the global markets?
Yes, at the beginning of the market, most of the indices were quite strong, pretty much on the basis that the vaccine news are coming through. However, though, the mixed signals are coming as the U.S. market closed. As you said, the Dow Jones added by only 0.3% and Nasdaq gained by only 0.2%, while the S&P it's down by about 0.1%. Pretty much the Wall Street closed mixed on Thursday because it basically cut the earlier gains after Dow Jones reported Pfizer is cutting its coronavirus vaccine rollout plan for this year due to the supply chain issues. Pfizer now expects to ship half of the doses that it had previously planned after finding that raw materials in early production it did not meet its standard. On the policy side, the House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell spoke as Congress works to strike an ideal deal and avoid the government shutdown. And that they're pretty hopeful that this will actually go through, and that should be positive signals and relieving some of the stresses we're seeing in the market. But nevertheless, still they're kind of cautious because these kind of news has been coming through in the past several weeks, and really nothing has actually done. So in any case, market has been very strong in the last several weeks, and then that. We needed some kind of breathing time for the time being, and it seems that the U.S. market actually took that yesterday. However, if you look at the futures market, U.S. All the indices are up anywhere between 0.3% to 0.5%. So overall liquidity condition and situation seems to be still in favor of equity market trend.
And today in Korea, the main index closed for the first time above 2,700. Strong buying by foreign investors yet again. What happened today in the local markets?
Right. As you said, the Korean market seems to be very strong, and it seems actually one of the strongest amongst all the other indices in the world. And that today it added another 1.3% for the Kospi and about 0.7% for the Nasdaq. Clearly now Kospi is breaking its benchmark record highs, and it seems to be doing that continuously. As you said, the foreign investors are coming back. On one day, because of the MSCI adjustment, they did sell about 2.4 trillion won worth of Korean equities, but in the past 2 days, they're coming back quite aggressively. If you look at the foreign net buying of Kospi, it was about 763 billion. Nasdaq was about 41.8 billion. All in all, net purchase of about 800 billion won worth of Korean equities. Clearly, the positive implication is that there's some of the news about pharmaceutical side that the vaccine will come through. Also, the possibility of economic recovery where the export numbers are turning positive, even though there's all concern about the export and the global economic growth rate. Nevertheless, Korea seems to be quite well in that next year's economic growth rate should be coming back, and that Korea is relatively better in a position, particularly if you look at the sector-wise, how strong it seems in terms of the which sectors. Clearly, the semiconductor and semiconductor equipment sector is they're doing the best out of all the sectors that we're seeing. And obviously, Korea, the electronic sector is about 40% plus of the overall Kospi, and Samsung Electronics and SK Hynix are one of the largest stocks in Korea, and that these stocks are moving somewhere around 2.6% today for Samsung. SK Hynix is up about 3.14%. So clearly, everybody seems to be saying that the semiconductor business is going to show a very strong jump in the first quarter of next year, maybe leading into the second quarter as well.
The oil-producing countries of OPEC and Russia have agreed to increase production in the new year, not by a lot, but the price of oil continues to climb. Tell us about oil and what do you make of these moves by OPEC?
Yes, as you said, oil prices are very strong. The crude oil WTI is up about 1.9% right now. Brent oil is up about 2.07%. Now the WTI is hitting about $46.5 per barrel. And I've been saying that the oil price will have some more room to go up. How far? Maybe up to over $50 per barrel. Basis on the trend that we've been seeing in the recent. Obviously, why is it going up? There's a supply adjustment that's expected. If you look at the OPEC's agreement, they decided to cut output by about 7.2 million from January, which is much higher than expectation of 5.7 million. So clearly, this kind of move is actually affecting positively the supply and demand side. However, if you really think about on a longer-term basis, as we've been saying, the shale gas additional production and also the shift from the gasoline-based car to electric-based cars, we think that the demand is not going to be as strong as before. If that's the case, on the basis of supply and demand, most likely the band of overall price range of the oil will be somewhere between $40 to $50 rather than a previous peak was about $70 plus. We don't think that we'll reach that kind of level in the future. Most likely the one level leg down will happen, and that if the oil price continues to move up, it might go up to as high as $50 per barrel, but it's not going to be anything bigger or anything more stronger than what we're expecting. So all in all, we think that this will have some implication for the inflationary numbers, and that we will continue to see ample liquidity in the system, and oil price is not going to be the one element that where we need to buy aggressively. Rather, we need to focus on equity right now.
Got it. All right, Mr. Yu, we'll have to leave it there for this week. Thanks so much for coming on. Have a great weekend.
Thank you very much. You too.